Okay, kids, we are back. Thanks for joining me this time. So in my last video, we opened a Ravnica Allegiance bundle box. We didn't do so good in the 10 booster packs, didn't get a lot of worth value, but we got some pretty neat cards. And I did mention that it was kind of depressing, so we were going to open some Dominaria, which is, it get released almost a year ago. I feel like I went to the pre-release around April of last year. So we picked up some Dominaria booster packs. We got 5 of them here, so it's going to be a short video. I'm going to go through them real quick. I do like this set. Love the artwork. There's some pretty neat game mechanics in it. If I pull any of the cards, I will point them out. So let's get cracking packs. And here we go. So we start with the Davenant Trapper. I have a few of her. She's pretty nice. Pretty low mana cost for what she does. And it's got that historic spell mechanic in it. So any artifact, any legendary card, and any saga. And sagas are in the Dominaria set. They're pretty neat cards. Hopefully I pull one here so we can go over them. Those are all the historic cards. So if I cast one of those, I get to tap a creature into my opponent has. So that means they can't technically play it that turn. Skirk Prospector, sacrifice a goblin, you get to add mana. This is why nobody likes blue cards. So you get to enchant a creature, has base power and toughness of 0/4. So it's got no power, does have 4 toughness, it does have defender, but it loses all of its other abilities, and it's a blue wall in addition to its other colors and types. I'm not going to be able to say that name. It is the Blessing of Belzenlock. Pretty cheap one to cast. It is an instant, so you get to cast it whenever, including if you are under attack from your opponent. And the target creature you cast it on does get +2/+1 until the end of turn. If it's a legendary, it also gains lifelink. And this set had kickers, so I could pay an extra 2 mana of any color, and if this spell was kicked, instead of searching for a basic land card and put it in the battlefield and shuffling, I get to search my library for 2 land cards and put them onto the battlefield and then shuffle my library, which can be pretty handy if you need more mana, especially if you're playing with a green deck or a green and another color. You'd like to get that mana out. Another nice little blue card there, Power Stone Shard. So this is kind of neat. It does cost 3 mana, but once I tap it, I can add no color for each artifact I control named Power Stone Shard. You're allowed to have up to 4 of these in your deck. So that could potentially get you 4 extra mana. Demonic Vigor. Look at that evil grin. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and instead of dying and going to my graveyard, I get to put it back in my hand. Here we're going to call the Cavalry. I get to create 2/2 White Knight creature tokens with Vigilance. This card actually got my butt kicked at the Dominaria pre-release. He ended up with something ridiculous, like 8 White Knight creature tokens with 2/2s. That's 16 damage every time he hit me. I was pretty much done. It hurt. Okay, so this is, Saplings were big in this one, so if I exile a creature card from my graveyard, I get a 1/1 green Sapling creature token, and if I sacrifice 2 of those, I get 2 life back and I get to draw a card. Some Spore Crowns, lots of fungus in this deck, but the artwork's really pretty. See, look at that. Look how pretty that is. Steel Leaf Champion. Okay, so this is this one right here. I saw the border before I was done with Steel Leaf Champion there. So this, see the fancy border? That means it's a legendary card. Just easier to keep them straight instead of having to remember exactly what's a legendary card in case you are playing one of those game mechanics. And we get a little forest and one of those sapling tokens that we were talking about earlier. So here we get some Merfolk. Again, tap it, add some no color mana. But this stuff has a limitation. You can only use that mana to cast an instant or a sorcery. Which, when you're playing with a blue deck, it's usually control or milling. And a lot of your stuff is pretty instant. So you're probably going to be using that a lot. Radiating Lightning, again, another instant. You deal 3 damage to a target player and 1 damage to every creature that player controls. So that's a pretty powerful card, but it does come with a high mana cost. Arbor Armament, another instant. It's just like just all going to be instants in this pack. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. That creature gains reach until end of turn. So any creature with reach can block a flyer. Stronghold Confessor. See, we got those creepy dudes again, just like back in the Ravnica set. Again, kicker. This creature gets menace, which means it can't be blocked except for 2 or more creatures. So your opponent has to have 2 creatures to block you. And if it was kicked, so if you spend that extra mana, you do get an additional 2 1/1 counters on it, turning it into a 3/3 for a total mana cost of 4, which isn't too terrible. We're going to call the Cavalry again. Again, that's the card, gets my butt kicked. So we're going to try to find a way to put that in one of the decks we are working on, because it's super handy and you can do a lot of damage real fast for not a lot of mana. Llanowar Elves. Again, super handy if you're playing with a green deck, because you tap it, you get to add green mana. Sparring Construct, another artifact creature. When it dies, you get to put a 1/1 counter on any target creature that you control. So that's pretty handy when somebody murders your dudes. Destroy target creature, pretty straightforward there. Another Unwind. Voltaic Servant, artifact creature. Beginning of your end step, untap an artifact. And here we go, another legendary. In Bolas's Clutches. Enchanted permanent. You control enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent becomes legendary. Another artifact. Shield of the Realm. Orcish Vandal. Oh, he's got some rage. Just tap it, sacrifice an artifact, and then Orcish Vandal deals 2 damage to any target you want. Here we go. Marwyn the Nurturer, another legendary card here. So whenever another elf enters the battlefield on your control, you get to put a 1/1 counter on this girl here, which if you're playing an elf deck, you're going to have a lot. And if you tap it, and you get to add an amount of mana equal to Marwyn's power. So if you have a lot of elves out, you play her, she's got a lot of counters on her, that can get you quite a lot of nice green mana. Get your guys all swole up. Then we just get a basic land and another Sapperling token. There we go, we got a Bloodstone Goblin, nice little Goblin Warrior there. 1/2 mana cost for a 2/2 creature, not bad. And anytime you cast a spell, if you kick it, this guy gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn. And again, that means he can't be blocked unless he's got 2 or more blockers. And we got a Cold Water Snapper here, nice giant turtle, hexproof. He can't be the target of spells or abilities that your opponents control. And again, this is a reason why everybody hates blue players. Sergeant at Arms. Again, you can kick it. If it was kicked, you get to create 2/1/1 white soldier creature tokens. I think this was also in Buddy's deck there that kicked my butt so bad at the pre-release for this set. And now we have an instant spell. It deals 7 damage to a target creature with flying, and it only costs you 2 mana, and it's instant. So, pretty handy, pretty sneaky, dirty. I like it. We will be finding a way to use that. Another Stronghold Confessor. Look how creepy the swamp cards are in this set. So creepy. Another Elf. Again, I can put a land from my hand onto the battlefield for just giggles. Don't have to follow the rules there. You do get to play 1 land per card, but once this guy comes out, if I tap it, I get to add more mana. And when you're playing those green elf decks, you want all the mana. And this little guy doesn't cost much. If you tap him, you get to sacrifice this card, which sounds bad, but you get to return a target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. So that can be super useful if you've got something in your graveyard that your opponent killed and you really want it back. Vicious Offering. So the kicker on this one isn't extra mana. You have to sacrifice one of your dudes. You sacrifice them, throw them out to your graveyard. Any target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of turn. But if you kicked it, that means you've sacrificed one of your creatures. The creature that you are targeting gets -5/-5 instead. And it is, again, an instant. So that jerk-off blue player that's trying to come at you, this will stop him. Nice little short sword. They have a great sword or a long sword as well. Just flipping through my other Dominaria cards earlier today. Love the artwork on these artifacts in this set. Keldon Overseer, pretty high kicker, but you gain control of a target creature until end of turn. Untap it, and it gets haste until the end of turn. So pretty handy if you want to pay it, but it's a high kicker cost. You have to pay an extra 4 mana on an already high card, which is 3. 7 mana just to play that. Wizard's Retort. Another instant. It does cost 1 less mana if you already control the wizard, and you get to counter target spell, no matter what. Sanctum Spirit. Discard historic card. Gains indestructible until end of turn. So if you discard one of your historic cards, this guy's indestructible until the end of your turn. Oh, another Jaya Bellard. This is a Planeswalker. And I've actually got 3 of her already, so I'm not too sure what Wizards of the Coast is doing, calling her a legendary rare or legendary mythic. This is number 3 or number 4 I have of her. She's worth about $1.50. Planeswalkers, different type of gameplay. Play them anyway. They can be fun. They've got some cool mechanics. I have a few of them from other sets and different colors, different mana costs. She's okay. She gets you a little bit mana. You do get to throw away 3 cards and then draw that many cards back if you want. At the very end, your -8 hit is you get an emblem with you may cast instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard. If a card cast this way would be put into your graveyard, you get to exile it. So that's nice that you get to cast instant sorceries from your graveyard, but that's really all she's got going for her. And look at that guy, Yargle Glutton of Urborg. High mana cost at 5, but look at all of that damage. Very weak though. But hey, it could do some damage. It could mess some stuff up. There's our basic land and another sapling. Ooh, that one's a pretty one. And we got 2 more packs left, guys. Getting to the end of this here. It's been a long night. I gotta get up and work early in the morning. So let's get this done. We have Knight of New Benalia, Creature Human Knight, pretty basic, 2 mana cost, 3/1 Human Knight. And Keldon Warcaller. So whenever whenever this guy attacks, you get to put a lore counter on a target saga you control. That means you're actually moving down towards the end. Sagas have about 3 phases to them, and every turn you move down. If I don't have one in my pile here, I should have one kicking around somewhere over here. Actually, I know exactly where I have one. We are going to find that for you right now. It should be sitting in my Planeswalker deck, I believe. Oh, maybe it's not in this deck. Must be in one of my works in progress decks. We will find it. Too many decks? No such thing. There we go. So this is what a saga looks like. See, some of them are a little bit different, but there are always 3 little things you get to do. I have a few of them in other decks. Some of them are just sitting in my many, many boxes of cards. Like I've said before, I have a little bit of an addiction to this stuff. It is my crack. So as it enters, like, they're all going to be different, but you get these 3 counters. So this guy here, I have to put a lore counter on a saga I control, which means if I'm on number 2, I already go to number 3, and that means all tapped creatures to the owner's hands. All of them. To everybody's hands. These can be pretty dirty. Some of them are really nice. Some of them are just kind of meh. But it is one of the mechanics in the Dominaria set. So keep an eye on that. We're going to put that back over in the deck it came from, because that deck doesn't work without it. Artificer's Assistant, little bird, again flying. So flying creatures can only be blocked for other creatures with reach. And anytime you cast, this is why people don't like blue. Anytime you cast a historic spell, you get to scry 1. You look at the top card of your library, then you may put that card on the bottom of your library, so you know where it is. Soul Salvage. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Again, very nice for when those people murder your dudes. Adventurous Impulse. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or a land and put it into your hand, and then put the rest of your in the bottom of your library. So you get to see 3 of your cards. If any of them are a creature or a land, which they should be, you get to keep that. Super nice, and it only costs you 1 mana. Valid Omnivore. Sacrificing creatures, you get 2/2 until the end of turn. If a sapling was sacrificed this way, you get 2 life. And that's one of the mechanics I'm working on with one of my other decks. It's a black-green deck, and there's a lot of saplings in it, and I believe this card's in it as well. So I do get to gain a lot of life, which is nice when you're new and you suck, because you die a lot. Gideon's Reproach. Oh, dude just got punched in the face. You deal 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. It is an instant, and it only costs 2 mana. Again, very nice when somebody's coming to kill you. Run Amok. Another instant. These instants seem a little overpowered. Target attacking creature gets 3/3 and gains trample until end of turn. And it's only 2 mana. Voltaic Servant again. We've already gone over that. Unwind. Got a few of those this time. Urza's Tome. I have a few of these already. For 3 mana, you get to drop a card, then discard a card unless you exile a historic card from your graveyard. So that's nice, because you do have to exile a card if you want, but it comes out of your graveyard, so it's not super impacting. Final Parting Sorcery. Search your library for 2 cards and put one in your hand and the other in your graveyard. Then shuffle your library. That can be handy if you're looking for a specific card, like a Planeswalker, or you need more mana. Oh, and here we go. We actually do have a Saga in this deck. So this one's dirty. It's mean, and I've caused a lot of people to swear with this one. It is a high cost card, but you do get to destroy all land, which means nobody has any mana. And then for turns 2 and 3, each player returns 2 land cards from their graveyard to the battlefield, so you come back with only 4 mana, which is dirty. And with this mana cost, you're pretty late in the game, so people get mad. But it's a nice card. I like it. Slimefoot the Stowaway, this ugly fungus creature. Whenever a sapling you control dies, Slimefoot deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain a life. And for 4 additional mana, you can create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. And we get a basic swamp and a Nightmare Horror. Ooh, that's creepy. That looks like something right out of Stranger Things or Buick 8. Creepy, creepy. And look at me here, just trashing the place with my mat. This is our last pack of the night, guys. Don't know when I'm going to get my next fix, so hopefully there's something good in here. We are going to check on that Saga, actually, real quick, just to see what TCG has to say about it. Fall of the Thran. Typing with one hand is not easy. Oh, not a very pricey card. For a little bit of a letdown there. Benalish Honor Guard. Creature, human knight, he gets a 1/0 for each legendary creature you control. So if you're playing with a legendary deck, I actually have him in one of the ones I'm working on. Might be the same one as that Saga. And there's a lot of legendary cards in that hand, in that deck. So I do get to get a lot of power on this guy. We're still working out some kinks there. Like I said, I'm not very good. So I don't get to play very often because I do work shift work. But hopefully we will be able to play a lot more frequently now. Get to Chronicler, another human wizard. Oh. Arcane Flight with the little kitty flying. He looks kind of terrified. Nice instant. Creatures I control get 1/1 until end of turn, and it's a pretty cheap mana cost, so you can play that pretty early. Little Paladin here. Whenever you cast a historic spell, the Paladin deals 2 damage to each opponent as opposed to a creature the opponent controls, so that comes right off their life. Llanowar Scout, again, another elf card. So in that elf deck we were talking about earlier, these are super handy. Simple, destroy target creature. Can't get any more basic than that. Sparring Construct again. Some more Llanowar Elves. Another Call to Cavalry. Oh, Triumph of Gerard. Here's one of those token or Sagas again. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control with the greatest power. You get to do that twice. And target creature you control with the greatest power gains flying, first strike, lifelink until end of turn. So not super overpowered, but is pretty handy. So if you have a higher powered creature out there, by the time you're getting to attack with it, he's already got 2/2 additional. Another Chain Restaurant. I actually have this one. This is it's pretty handy at the beginning of the game. Not so great when you're close to death, because you only get half your life total rounded up, and it deals that damage to you. A Howling Golem artifact creature. Whenever Howling Golem attacks or blocks, each player draws a card. Traxos, the Scourge of Krug. They're so creative with these names. He has Trample, enters the battle tapped, and doesn't untap during my untap step. When whenever I cast a historic spell, I get to untap him. So I don't get to untap him very frequently, but I do if I cast a historic spell. And a basic land, and another yet different Sapperling token. Sapperlings were huge in this release, but again, it is definitely by far one of my favorites so far. I'm really digging it. Still got to play around with the new Ravnica mechanics a little bit, see how I feel about it. But so that was it. So that was 5 booster packs of Dominaria. Right there, all done for the night, guys. I am tired. I gotta get to work in the morning, so I am going to bed. Have a great night, and we'll see y'all soon.